Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Thursday, September 28th of 2023. Thank you all for joining me in this video. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful week so far. And yeah, let's go ahead and hop into these transits. Things are finally heating up. They've been heating up, but today things start to really pop off, right? My cat is having zoomies and making noise. Leo, what's wrong? Leo, what's wrong, buddy? You okay? Let's go ahead and hop into these transits for today. Well, guys, we do, of course, have this moon here in Pisces. The sun is in Libra, and we finally are going to have the apex of a Venus square Uranus for the third time this year, right? Which is something that does not happen very often, right? You got to remember, Venus retrogrades once every 2 years, and it's not always going to be in square to Uranus. So, or Jupiter. So these are aspects that just don't happen that often, let alone we get three of them. So just based off of all the math and the retrogrades that are happening and stuff too. So very, very good, interesting stuff. So we do have, of course, some in Pisces here in this last decan, and it's definitely, whenever the moon goes into Pisces, especially since this is it's very illuminated by the sun. It's not full, of course, but still illuminated. So I'm even starting to look at those sort of things. Like most people, they'll look at the full moon, say, oh, this is a time of release, it's illuminated and stuff like that. But the moon is illuminated at different intervals, of course, throughout its transit. So the fact that we have a moon in Pisces that is damn near full on top of Neptune, mind you, means that this is definitely pulling out a lot of deep subconscious spiritual shit, for real. Especially with the Neptune that is retrograde here in Pisces. Moon went over Saturn here in Pisces too. There's a lot of stuff coming up to the surface that is very subconscious and spiritual in nature, can be showing us where we may have our spiritual traps, where we maybe kind of locking ourselves in, maybe not listening to what spirit has to tell us because we're constantly moving, or we're trying to escape, we're trying to suppress what's coming up with alcohol, drugs, things like that. These are things that Pisces rules over. And escapism too. That's a thing. Guys, this is a time whenever the moon goes into Pisces, you'll start to see people that will start saying things like, I just need to get away from everything. I just need to escape. I just need to get away. And, there could be an element of truth to that. But more than likely, they are just not wanting to face the reality of what's going on. We still, of course, have a Mercury in Virgo that is still in shadow, but will be coming out of shadow very soon. It will come out of shadow pretty much Friday night going into Saturday. So we have a couple more days. And what's interesting is that we're building up to a full moon, which will pretty much be happening Thursday into Friday. We are building up to this full moon in Aries that's not going to be an eclipse quite, but kind of carries the energy of an eclipse because the North Node still is in Aries. It's just not going to be quite there. So it's sort of like this pre-eclipse kind of energy. It's kind of like right before it evolves into an eclipse, if you will. It's like, I'm going to use Pokemon as an example because I'm just a nerd, right? So most starter Pokemon evolve at level 16, right? And let's just think of the evolution as the eclipse point when the evolution actually happens. This full moon in Aries is like a starter Pokemon or like a Squirtle or something like that. That's at level 15. Level 15 that has most of its experience points are right there and it's about to evolve, but it's not quite there. So it is a bit of a tease, this full moon in Aries that we're going to be building up to, right? This whole last, today going into tomorrow, the last 24 hours have kind of been like a tease because we can definitely feel like major shifts are happening, but since it's not going to be an eclipse, it doesn't necessarily have that stamp of fate on it that eclipses usually have, but that doesn't mean that these moments aren't very important and carry spiritual significance, if you will. So we have to, like I said, Mercury is not going to be quite out of shadow for this full moon. So that's the thing about this. It's like there's been a couple of these moments where it's like the new moon that we had in Virgo, right? Mercury was still retrograde, right? It was still station retrograde. And with this full moon that's coming up, it's still going to be in shadow. So there's definitely like a tease where it's like, oh, I got everything figured out. I've even moved past some of my fears and the thoughts. I'm going to figure everything out. I got this plan together, but it's not out of the woods just yet. It's not out of the woods just yet. So this moon is going to, of course, conjunct Neptune today here at 26 degrees. And you can see here, of course, that Venus here at 2158 is getting ready to square Uranus for real, for real. It's already been in square with it. Just the orb is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And when these orbs get tighter, especially when it comes to oppositions and when it comes to squares, because these are the more challenging aspects, it can happen with sextiles and trines too. But as the orbs get tighter and tighter and tighter, it's kind of like the walls kind of close in. And if people aren't prepared for these energies, if they don't know how to really react or respond, they can kind of lash out. And because they feel almost claustrophobic because the energy is getting tighter and tighter, and they don't necessarily know how to react and respond to it, they may try and burst the bubble. They may try to burst the orb and break out of it. And then that's when you get volatile reactions. That's when you get volatile conversations that don't really need to happen. That's when you get people doing something to try and change it up, but then they fuck up their whole life and shit like that. And that may be a little bit hyperbolic too, but it can definitely happen. So now this moon, of course, on Neptune, being at the degree that it is, 2 plus 6 is 8. This is a very Saturnian degree that it's at. 2 plus 6, like I said, is 8. So there's an element here where there is a bit of, we may be feeling a bit of a spiritual restriction. We may be feeling like, maybe we're feeling like, we can't quite experience the life and the dream and the magic the way that we want to, because there is a bit of a restriction. Now, if we break this down even further, 2 is the moon and 6 is Venus, right? So it's like we really want to, I would say this, like we really want to connect with spirit, right? On a more of an emotional level, right? But there's also this weird little restriction. It's interesting how 2, the moon, and then 6, Venus, come together, and it's like an 8. So it's like we have to make a decision, right, on what we are wanting to connect to, what we are wanting to open up to. So this is like, are you willing to open up and receive spirit? Are you willing to open up and receive the messages from spirit, the gifts from spirit? Are you wanting to receive that actual magic? And then, of course, with the 2, with the moon, and the moon is involved in this too, it's like even like a double whammy. It's like, okay, like when you receive these things, yeah, how does it make you feel? And also, that's the thing too. A lot of times what will happen on this journey, right, is that you'll receive a message and it may make you feel uncomfortable, or it may make you may feel angry or sad, disappointed or anxious, and then you take that emotion as the end all be all, and then you start to avoid that sort of thing. You start to avoid that thing because it made you feel bad, and because we are, as humans, with our human brain still, there's this element here where we want to avoid discomfort, right? We want to avoid it. This moon over Neptune, which is going to be happening around 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? So this is going to, so that's like what, 1:30, 12:30. It's like what? That's like your late morning on the West Coast, right? So, there's this opportunity here to receive a message from spirit. There really is. And there could be an element where it may make us feel a little uncomfortable because there is a somewhat restrictive element to this. But what I really feel like this is that, like, as we grow and evolve, it's not like we're going to get everything at once. Things were released to us in different sections. It's kind of like going through like a canal, right? There are different levees, and the water has to rise or fall so you can get to good through the next levee. The universe isn't just going to allow everything to just come in at once. It's going to release it to you in divine timing. So the moon conjunct Neptune is really reminding us that, these messages from spirit, what we want to receive, our spiritual gifts, they're going to be released in divine timing. But if we get too caught up in it, on us wanting it to look a certain way and trying to control it, remember this is a Saturnian degree, so Saturn's here, Pisces too, so is an element of control here. If we do so much to try and control the narrative, control what's coming through, then we're not going to get a very authentic message, right? Not only that, but we have to see our emotions as water, especially with the moon in Pisces. So you may receive a message from spirit that may make you feel uncomfortable at first, right? Are you going to run away from that message? Are you going to hide from that message? Are you going to try and escape from that message, right? Or are you going to embrace and accept that message, be open to the message, and allow whatever feelings of the message to take their natural course, transform, subside, turn into something else? You don't want to just be afraid. This moon conjunct Neptune is going to actually spook quite a few people because, especially at these high degrees of Pisces where it's very, very sensitive, right? Very, very sensitive. And it's the decan ruled by Pluto. So it's very, very deep, right? Very, very deep. So just be wary about that, right? Not everyone's going to respond well with the moon conjunct Neptune, with the moon that is pretty much illuminated now, of course, at the bottom, so you're not going to see the moon and stuff. And what was a pretty loose yacht, I mean, if you go back to when the moon was at 21 degrees, right, it did make a yacht here. Now, this was overnight, or starting at the beginning of the day, where the moon at 21 degrees, it quincunxed Venus, it quincunxed Mars, and they're in sextile to each other. Now, granted, it's a 1 degree orb, right? So it's not like an exact sextile, right? But this moon did make that aspect to it, overnight. And that means that we have this finger of God that's pointing towards the moon in Pisces at 21 degrees. And lo and behold, that is the degree that Mercury retrograded at. So when you have a Venus in Leo that is picking up speed, when you have a Mars that is moving at its fastest in Libra, the sign that it does not want to be in and much rather be in Aries, pointing to the moon in Pisces, which is exactly opposite the spot that Mercury retrograded at in Virgo. This is literally, I've been saying, plan to have your plans change. Plan to not necessarily know how everything's working and how everything's going to figure out. If you are trying to overly control these situations, right? Be overly diplomatic with the universe, making deals with the universe, right? Saying like, oh, please, if you give me this thing, I promise that, right? Like, if you thought you figured things out with that new moon in Virgo, if you thought that you figured out something new with that new moon in Virgo, sorry to say, nah. No. That was a new moon about cultivation, a new moon about, in many ways, seeing what has worked and continuing to expand upon that, fine tune it. So we had this yod that formed early in the morning, Thursday, pointing to a moon in Pisces that is and here's the thing too, it's 2 + 1, which is 3, which is Jupiter energy, right? So it's like, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in spirit? Do you believe in your guides? Do you believe that you have guardian angels that are helping you and protecting you? Do you believe that things work out for you? The other day, I think what was it? It was Saturday? Yeah, it was Saturday. Really, just honestly over the last several days. But I've been saying to myself, it's like things work out for me. And things have been working out for me in the craziest ways and the most simple ways. You know? And I've been just reminding myself that things work out for me. The other part about this yod too was that, like, if we are not of spiritual service to humanity, especially when it comes to like whatever this new moon was, this plan that we are kind of building up, whatever like that, or like I said, like we're trying, the plan wasn't anything new. The plan that we had was to take what has been working and fine tune it and then deliver that and be of service. That's what that was about. And this God pointing towards the moon is reminding us, hey, better be spiritual in nature. Better be spiritual in nature and not just completely self-serving. Self-serving to the point where it neglects other people or puts other people down, but no, it brings people up. That's what this whole day is pretty much reminding us of. So now, like I said, you're going to see that moon, of course, on Neptune, right? And bam, the next hour, Venus hits 22 degrees and begins its square to Uranus. A 2-day square, mind you. A 2-day square, because Venus is not moving at her full speed. So we're going to get this for 2 days. Venus, which is finally moving past Juno, they had their little, lesbian summer trip, you know what I'm saying? But now, Juno can't really fill up Venus. And Venus can't really fill up Juno. Because Venus, you remember, Juno is Jupiter's wife. And she can only be at her full strength and her full power when she's with Jupiter. Not Venus. Not the lower benefic. They can have fun together, absolutely, especially here in Leo. They definitely have fun together. But Venus can't make Juno into a goddess. Only Jupiter can do that. So now Venus is moving past that point, and it's getting ready to square your ass. So she had her fun. She's picking up speed, And she's definitely wanting to open up her heart more. Be more creative, receive more, feel the beauty again. But a square to Uranus and Taurus is like an earthquake. This is like Venus is like getting ready to like leave the villa, leave the beach, and ready to go home to Libra. Virgo is going to be like the whole like road trip, essentially. Virgo is the whole road trip. She's getting ready to leave, but she's still not at that 28-degree point, so she's still in shadow with this square. But this is when her car breaks down. This is when there's a fucking giant pothole in the road. This is when the bridge collapses. And she is stuck until it gets fixed. That's the square to Uranus. Now, Uranus here in Taurus, of course, this is definitely about, her wanting to, of course, connect with, wanting to connect with people of like mind, of like morals, right? Of like values. But are you willing to open up to these people? Are these situations, these connections, these vibrations, are you willing to open up to them? Because that's the thing about the square is like there can be this moment too, especially when it comes to relationships, where there can be, you cannot feel like you're on the same page, vibrating on the same page, right? Remember, Uranus rules Aquarius. It's two sideways on top of each other, about matching vibrations, right? As above, so below. So with a square here, Venus, which likes to be in Taurus, mind you, right? And a Uranus that's like, yeah, nah, I rather, I don't want to really be in Leo, so I don't really understand what you're saying to me. And Venus is sort of like I gotta get here, I gotta do this thing, and now you're holding me up with this. And Uranus is like, I'm just trying to fix the bridge so you can actually make it across. I figured that'd be something that we would both value and stuff. I mean, there's no other way off of this island, Venus. I'm sorry, but I gotta fix this bridge for the betterment of everyone. It's not just you. It's humanity at large here. So it's not just you. It's not just what benefits you. It's what benefits the collective. And that can be the hard part of a Venus square Uranus, is that we may get so caught up in what we want to receive, what we want to love, how we want things to go, but we forget about the collective at large. So, how do we match the vibration of what we want to receive, love, and create in our lives? The beauty that we want to live our lives. How do we match that with the collective moral structure, what people value? How can we match those things? The square is going to make it difficult. You want to see Thursday, Friday, this is probably unnecessary arguments in relationships, especially romantic, you know what I'm saying? Where one person may even be trying to do something of service to benefit both parties, and one of them may not necessarily see it, may not necessarily get the vision, right? Especially, like I said, because she's been with Juno this whole time. So she's had like these rose tinted glasses on this whole time. You got to think about Jupiter is also about the vision, having your eye on the prize, the target, right? She's normally with Juno, right? So there's this element where, there's like a sort of like a visionary quality that Jupiter can help Juno with. And now, of course, Juno and Venus were together, and it's different. It's much more different when they were traveling. It's much more different with them traveling together, with them being together. It's like Juno's almost trying to kind of explain to Venus these sort of things, but Venus just wants to have fun, and they both just kind of want to have fun, if you will. So it's like the moment that they come out of that fun and something happens, something kind of snaps, if you will. This happens at 22 degrees. So it's moon, because moon is 2, so moon, and then Uranus with 4. So it's like trying to match your emotional wavelength with someone else's emotional wavelength. But they're going to be a little bit wobbly. There's a potential for wobbliness today and tomorrow when it comes to that. This is why you have to remain sound of mind, sound of heart, sound in your emotions, and allow these things. Don't allow your emotions to get the better of you today, because if you let the emotions get the better of you today, you can blow things up, and you can get so upset that this bridge collapsed that you will delay the fixing of this bridge because you're getting mad at the construction workers on that bridge. You're getting mad at the freaking manager. You're getting mad at everything. You're holding everything up. You just let them do their job, let them do their work. They'll get that bridge fixed, and then you'll be on your way. But there's a propensity today to muck up and hold things back because we want to receive it a certain way from the universe. We want it to come a certain way from the universe. We want it to be beautiful in the way that we want it to be beautiful. Instead of seeing the beauty and the uniqueness of every person, the uniqueness of every situation, the uniqueness of different ideals that may not necessarily align with our own. This is a Venus square Uranus. This is when people are unable to see the common denominator, that is that we are all humans sharing this experience. We all have our different experiences, but we are all here. We are all here. We are all humanity experiencing this. We are all under these influences. Nobody is immune to this shit. Everybody is influenced by this, whether you believe in it or not. So no one person is above another. We all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses, and we can all help each other in the areas that we need help in. But something like this is when someone champions their ideals and their beliefs over someone else's and mucks up the process and slows things down. You don't want to do that today or tomorrow. You don't want to do that. Oh, this person is a Democrat. I can't get along with them. Oh, this person is a Republican. I can't get along with them. Remove the fucking labels. You both need to eat. You both need water. You both need oxygen. You both need all your vitamins. You both need love from people. You both need love from yourself. There is a lot more in common with you than uncommon. So fuck all of the political jargon and bullshit. Fuck all of that stuff. And focus on what unites you. That is what's important. You think that if something crazy happened, apocalypse happened, that you're going to care about who someone voted for in the last election? There's not going to be any more elections after that. There's like a freaking apocalypse. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying, though, there's not going to be any of that. What skills do you bring to the table? Okay, you're a doctor. Cool. All right. Okay, you know how to start fires from like almost nothing. Cool. Okay, you're good at foraging for food. Cool. Let's all work together. One may be a Democrat. One may be a Republican. One may be super fucking racist. One may be whatever. One may be a jock. One may be a nerd. Who cares? It doesn't matter. What matters is what is the common denominator between the two of you, and that is the fact that you are human. You are infinite sparks of the divine that chose this human experience to grow and evolve. And yes, you chose different paths. You might have chose different charts, different stars to be born under, different alignments to be born under, but you are still human. So the moon's going to move into Aries around 8:45 p.m. and we're really moving into that full moon phase, which is going to be happening overnight, essentially. It's going to be happening here at, I think it's going to be like pretty much at like 6 degrees officially, like 5-6 degrees. I need to actually let me go by the minute, because I'm going to talk more about this. I'm probably going to talk more about this and the it's at 6 degrees 00 exactly. We're going to talk more about this for Friday's astrology forecast, because since the day is kind of stamped with this energy, especially on the East Coast, it's going to carry throughout the whole day. But we're moving into that full moon. So Thursday, like I said, powerful day. Powerful day. Venus finally squaring Uranus for the third time, mind you. Venus is direct, Uranus is retrograde. The first time they were both direct. Second time, Venus was retrograde, Uranus was direct, and now the third time, Venus is direct, and Uranus is retrograde. Same dance that she had with Jupiter. Same dance that she had with Jupiter, right? And what's interesting about this, too, is that when we have this full moon, Juno and Venus are still traveling with each other. It's just that Juno's kind of lagging behind Venus now. Powerful day. Don't let your emotions get the better of you today. Be silent. Be open to the messages from spirit. Give yourself time to actually achieve some level of silence and quiet. It's interesting. Pisces also rules prisons, right? And a lot of times, I've never been to prison. Hopefully I never go to prison. I was in past lives, but hope I never go to prison. But oftentimes prisoners, especially when they're in that quiet time, it gives them time to kind of think on things, and they can go crazy. They can go nuts. That's the Pisces element. But the other element is that things can get very clear. You know, things can become very clear. And I think there's like a saying where like God loves prisoners. God loves people that go to jail, because it gives you a chance to really drown out all of the noise and connect, right? Now, you don't have to go to prison to do that, but oftentimes we're in this world out here. There's so much stimuli, and there's so much things. So it's like, our phones and the TV, and then our jobs and this and then that. We can get all this external stimuli that we don't even listen to the internal stimuli. But we have to have those moments of peace, the moments of quiet where we can kind of go within and cultivate these moments of silence, whether it's a minute, 5 minutes, 10, 20, 30. It's important to meditate. How does that meditation look for you? How do you connect, right? So let's get into the cards. I didn't even really talk about the moon sextile and Pluto. I feel more of just like a opportunity that kind of opens up here. That despite what's happening in this external world, that's the whole Pluto and Capricorn thing. Despite the power struggles in the external world, despite the power struggles when it comes to business and career and the way the world works, how can you connect to spirit still? It's about not blaming all these different groups of people and the elite and the people in power, because that stuff is transforming forever anyways, right? Not blaming them for why you're where you are. It's not their fault. Yeah, they have influence, but this is about taking your power back. It's about taking your power back and not externalizing it so damn much. You have the Devil card in reverse. Don't listen to these influences, man. The Devil card in reverse. The devil is in the details of what you think this should look like. When you try to force what you think that this should look like and try and control every aspect of this shit, that's where the devil lies in. Because then you'll start to act in certain ways and communicate in certain ways that will ostracize you from the people that you care about the most, and the people, and even the people that you are meant to help on this journey. I also have the Six of Wands in reverse. This is not about a victory just for you. This is about everybody winning. So where can you find the win-win today? Where are the win-wins today? That's really what this is about. Finding the win-win. Bottom of the deck, I do have the Queen of Cups, right? So definitely an emotionally intelligent energy. But remember, when she is all super wrought up in her emotions, that's when she makes rash decisions and declares war where war does not need to be declared. And that's the thing about this. No need for you to declare war in areas that the war doesn't need to be declared. All right? So I'll go ahead and grab the moon card for today as well. I'll be interested to see what comes up for this. Well, you want to remain emotionally sound today. That doesn't mean that you're not going to experience the wide range of emotions over these next couple of days, right? You're going to experience them, but don't make decisions from that place, though. Wait for them to subside and pass, observe them, and then make your decision, then move forward, right? If afterwards you still feel like you have to do something, and that's what your gut's telling you to do, then do it. But I'm telling you, these are the energies right now where the universe is kind of calling our bluff right now. We can be like, especially if you get like super riled up and angry, it's like, oh, well, if that's the case, then I'm going to just leave and quit this whole thing. And the universe is like, okay, go ahead. And then we're like, oh, shit, I didn't think I'd make it this far. Are you really bad about it? Or were you just kind of having a bit of a temper tantrum? This is an energy that's kind of ripe for temper tantrums. I'm not going to lie. So, a personal issue reaches resolution. Full moon in Cancer. It's funny how the full moon that we're building up to is in Aries, which squares this energy. But a personal issue reaches resolution. That's a very positive thing. I like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, maybe there are personal issues in our life that have been kind of like building up and stuff. And this gives us an opportunity to kind of to finally have some type of resolve here. So, maybe that's what we're feeling. Maybe we could feel like this thing is kind of coming to a head a bit. You know what I mean? But we're finally about to kind of have some sort of breakthrough, some sort of great healing. So today's going to be a pretty intense day. Not gonna lie, but pretty emotional. So you can see how long this video ended up going. So, but just do your best to remain chill and take time to be still. Like water can be still. It can also be flowing. It can also be raging. Find time to be still and cultivate that time and listen for the answers that come through. Right? Don't make a decision when your emotions feel like a level 5 river rapid. It's not a place, that's not the best place to make decisions from. It's better to make decisions when it's calm and chill and tranquil. It gives you better vision. It'll give you a better outlook on things. And you won't push away people that don't need to be pushed away. That is going to do it for your astrology forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. And if you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. Remember to use promo code Equinox to receive 30% off your reading. And as always, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful Thursday. I will see you guys on the full moon astrology forecast for Friday. Peace.